Welcome to another episode of the Village Boy podcast. It is your host, Trez. And like we say, whenever there's an issue in the very busy nature of the America political, social, economic landscape, the Village Boy is bound to get into the conversation and have a conversation as due. On September 10th, 2025, during a Turning Point USA event at the Utah Valley University in Orem, Utah, political influencer Charlie Kirk was shot by a sniper's rifle and killed. It was an apparent targeted political assassination, and a man, 22-year-old Tyler Robinson, was arrested September 12th following almost a 34 and so hours manhunt. I watched that video live, or at least on X, and nobody should have to go out like that. Nobody. Not especially that you disagree or you don't like the person. America cannot be seen as that country that whenever you don't like something that somebody says, you go on the roof, get you a weapon that is easily accessible, and try to take their life away. That's not America. That's not who Americans are. But on September 10th, the suspect, 22-year-old Tyler Robinson, did exactly that by the FBI accounts. By my accounts, as the Village Boy podcast, I still think that that was a precision attack so highly skilled that a 22-year-old loner may not have been able to carry out. But what do I know? But who was Charlie Kirk? Charlie Kirk was born October 14, 1993, in the Chicago suburbs. I think he was born at Arlington Heights. So he's a Illinois native. Went to Harper College, Harper Community College. But as he stated in one of his videos, I don't think education in the sense of college was his strength. And he dropped out and focused on politics, where he made his money. There's a claim that he was inspired by Barack Obama. I don't know personally if that was a positive inspiration or the heightened trigger emotion at the time of Obama's second term was what motivated him. It just says he was inspired, but it doesn't say what direction the inspiration was. Was it an anti-Obama inspiration? But from every indication, I would be inclined to say it was an anti-Obama inspiration, but I don't know. This young man was able to turn $56,000 for his Turning Point uh, not-for-profit company or organization into $100 million project funded by people we don't really know, obscured Republican mega donors. For what reason, we don't really know, but that's not the point of the conversation. At his passing, he died a very wealthy man, $12 million. That's really the American story. Coming from, you know, almost nothing, not going to college, dropping out, a high school dropout, a college, couple of semesters in, maybe one class, dropped out, and was able to build $12 million in wealth. This are things that really happen mostly in America. So in overall, that was what Charlie Kirk did. He went out to colleges to have conversations with college kids, recruit them into the MAGA movement. And when you look at the landscape, the political discourse in the country, I don't know if that was a positive outcome, if the country is in a better place because that wave of kids have moved for the right, extremely right. But for these reasons and maybe more, a gunman took his life. And because in my heart of hearts, I'm a Christian, I have to play a tribute to Mr. Kirk before we carry on with the show.
We're active in about 15 campuses, and we're growing very, very quickly. And keep in mind, this is not just a flash in the pan movement. We're going to become an institution to give them the power and the confidence to stand up and let their voice be heard. I started this organization when I was 18 years old. I decided not to go to college. I didn't get in my dream school, which was the United States Military Academy at West Point. I have this idea to galvanize and motivate the future youth of this country around a core set of ideas, not just political parties or politicians. And the ideas are really America's the greatest country in the history of the world. Constitution is the greatest political document ever written, and free enterprise is the most assured way to lift people out of poverty and create prosperity for all. Those are the three big ideas. And I think that's something that can win. We as Christians are called to go into the public arena to correct error with truth. So I go to college campuses and there's a lot of error. We're all sinners. We are all live in error. I'm far more interested in what God wants of me than what I want from God.
I have to say this without getting emotional, but I'm very proud of my husband. And I know many of you are too. You have worked so hard. And I know a lot of you have seen, obviously, his videos on TikTok and all the stuff he does on campus. But no one gets to see him from my angle except for myself and our children. And the sacrifices that he made this year, he's amazing. I'm very blessed.
And I would not have been able to do any of it without Erica. And that's the real truth. I'll tell you what. You are here as a grassroots response to the top-down revolution happening in this country. I want our Turning Point USA students to receive a round of applause. These are the freedom fighters of America.
The media said that Turning Point could never run a ground game. They weren't experienced. They didn't know Charlie, right?
This is the greatest generational realignment since Woodstock. This generation is the most conservative generation that we have seen in well over 50 years, and the numbers show it. What young people especially are screaming at is they say, give me a structure that I can live my life by. And especially with young men, more challenging of them, more saying, you know what, honestly, I'm not gonna talk down to you. Stop being a boy and become a man. You wanna learn what that means? Come to church and I'll tell you what it means to become a man. Because we have the greatest story ever told. What can I do to save the country? You answer that question every single day because you are doing the work to save this beautiful republic. You are doing something that is bigger than you.
If everything completely goes away, how do you want to be remembered?
I want to be remembered for courage for my faith. That would be the most important thing. Most important thing is my faith in my life.
What a powerful tribute to the man, Charlie Kirk. Now let's dial up the rhetoric. Let's have the conversation that we needed to have today now that we've put all of this behind us, all of this facade, all of this charade. Let's have that conversation. And I'll start with this. Let's go ahead and start with this conversation right here. Right? Let's go ahead and start with this conversation and bring, because usually when somebody passes, we're inclined to say the good things, the good parts about that person. And that travels around the world. But let's look at the person. Let's look at what they did for real to back that claim. He wants to be remembered for his faith. The last things he said in that video. So now let's go ahead and dissect who this man really was, shall we? Because on the Village Boy podcast, this is what we do. If you look at all of our other videos, we have a different way of analyzing stuff and pointing out the reality of what we are faced with or what we're dealing with. And if you're still watching at this, if you've not gotten emotion, if you've not gotten triggered, hit the like button, hit the subscribe. Let's continue to have this conversation and build. Let's carry on.
Charlie Kirk did not deserve to be assassinated.
No, he didn't.
But I'm overwhelmed seeing the flags of the United States of America at half-staff calling this nation to honor and venerate a man who was an unapologetic racist and spent all of his life sowing seeds of division and hate into this land.
Let's pause right there for a quick second. So we just watched the tribute where this was the second coming of Jesus Christ, you know, the Christian, even people in Africa that are just finding out about this man because they watched that little video where he was killed. A terrible video, appalling. I can't even, the words fail me for that video. But people in Africa, Christians in Africa, are treating this man as the second coming of Christ. So in one little 5 minutes video that we've been on the Village Boy podcast, we've gone from a tribute that framed Mr. Charlie Kirk as the angel, the human being, the hero, staff flags were lowered, half staff. The country, he's getting a state burial. The president is going to be there. He has gotten all kinds of medals. I don't know. But now there's somebody saying this very person was a divisive character. This very person sowed the seed of hatred and division in the fabric and core of America. On one hand, some people are looking at him as the hero, a martyr was taken away. He died and he has gone to heaven. On another hand, the people that he attacked, insulted, victimized, as saying, we're not celebrating his death. It's the worst way for somebody to go out. But we have to have an honest conversation of who this man truly was and what he represented to America. That's an honest conversation. And for us in the Village Boy podcast, because I actually heard some of the things that Charlie Kirk wrote long before he died, and I went on to write a book about it. And we'll talk about the book later. But we'll keep listening to the pastor. And no, the applause is not anybody celebrating the demise of Mr. Kirk. He's dead. Nobody's celebrating. Not me. I'm not celebrating. I just gave a beautiful tribute, showed his life. So I'm not one to celebrate the pain, the death. I'm not one to support violence. But I'm one to have honest conversations that are hidden under the rocks in America.
And hearing people with selective rage who are mad about Charlie Kirk but didn't give a damn about Melissa Hortman and her husband when they were shot down in their home tell me I ought to have compassion for the death of a man who had no respect for my own life. I am sorry, but there's nowhere in Bible where we are taught to honor evil. And how you die does not redeem how you lived.
How you die does not redeem how you lived. If you want to be a martyr, you have to live an exemplary life. You have to have the fortitude, the lifestyle that people are going to highlight and point. It cannot just be rhetoric. It cannot just be in words. And what kind of words? How you live does not determine. When Mother Teresa of India, when she died, the world was moved. Her life was exemplary of that. When she passed, everybody looked at it, right? A lot of people are just finding out about this man, and because oftentimes there's a mention of Christianity, Jesus Christ, God, my faith, my belief. I believe in capitalism. I believe that people should work hard. I believe in merit-based, the Trojan new word, merit-based employment. I believe that nobody should be discriminated because of their colors. I believe in these things, and you buy it. But underneath all of that, what does he truly say? Have you ever paused and say, but truly, what is this man talking about? Let's keep listening.
You do not become a hero in your death when you are a weapon of the enemy in your life.
No, you do not. No, you do not.
I can abhor the violence that took your life.
Exactly.
But I don't have to celebrate how you chose to live. I am overwhelmed.
Yes. Yes. That was powerful. That was powerful right there. We can talk about how your life was snatched away from you, how your children are going to miss you, how your wife is not going to be able to have her husband, the father of her children, in their life. Yes, we can be appalled about how you were taken out of this world. But who were you, sir? Who was Charlie Kirk? Let's find out, shall we? Charlie Kirk. Let's just do Michelle Obama. Yale lawyer. This man who dropped out of Harper Community College in Illinois. A man who dropped out of Harper Community College in Illinois is telling Michelle Obama, who went to Yale, that she does not have the brain capacity processing power. Affirmative action was the only push. Okay. So in the mind of this Christian right, because this Jesus folks, this the people that follow Charlie, in your minds, in your Christian evolution, capitalism, or what have you, when you were given access to Harvard, Princeton, Yale, and the elites of the elite colleges in the world, you don't have to do no work. Just because you're black, you're just gonna pass. You're just gonna have access to teachers' calls. You're just gonna they're just gonna roll the red carpet. Because access into Harvard is one thing. Going through Harvard, going through Princeton, and succeeding, writing the bar and becoming a lawyer is something else. And working for some of the best companies in America is something else. So are we saying that access that for instance, this Ivy League institutions have created a program that says we're going to have 10 minority candidates based on color. Those minority candidates come in. So now they don't have to take any tests. The tests are watered down so that they can keep going. They don't have to write the bar. The bar is watered down so that, any professional examination that they have to take, med school, it's watered down so that they just keep riding the sheep until they get to where they're going. That's where a hyper community college dropout is talking about. Let's keep listening. So the competition is not that they stole an Asian person's spot. The competition or the comparison is not that they stole a Hispanic person's spot. The comparison is not that they stole a Native American spot. The comparison is that they stole a white person's spot. This is why, for me, you have to listen to the things that are not being said. There are plenty of people that go to colleges. He isolated 3-4 Black women and said they specifically stole the spot of a white person, not another race, not another gender, not another ethnicity, nothing else. Specifically, he focused that the Black people who were affirmative action recipients by his Harper dropout standards stole by default white person's spot. It was already certain that it was going to go. The spot was guaranteed for a white person. And these Black affirmative action recipients came in at the dawn of night and stole spots that were reserved uniquely for white people. Asians have been blowing the charts. Asians have been blowing the charts and Ivy League and parking white people in the site, but they've never protested. He has never had a conversation on how Asians are dominating. And when I mean Asians, Chinese, Indians, East Asians, all the different Asian groups have been dominating. And they have the numbers because we think that they're only Asians that live in America. No, people come from India to go to these colleges. People come from Japan, China, Singapore, all of those other Asian countries that are wealthy, South Korea, Thailand, to go to the schools. And they take spots from Americans. Black, white, man, woman, they take spots from Americans. But Charlie's not concerned about that. He's concerned about Ketanji Brown, Michelle Obama taking reserve sports that were guaranteed for white people. We keep listening. They're trying to replace us. White people still make about 56% of the population in America. Since the existence of America, Black people have constituted relatively between 12. They have moved between 12 to 15% of the population, and they go back and forth, and now they're back to somewhere between 13. Since the founding of this country, Black people have not grown outside that bracket. That is the most systemic population control you can ever imagine. Black people, since the founding of America, have not grown beyond 15% of the population. And he's saying they who is they that is trying to replace us? The government is largely white. Maybe they is liberals, but they is also white liberals. So conservatives have a problem, and Black people are catching the stray bullets from this man. So his focus is white. He is pushing a white agenda, a white narrative, because he is fighting anything that suppresses the white race. So this is a white nationalist protecting his race. This is a man who has used religion to stay focused on, say, there is a coordinated initiative that is disparaging to white men, especially white Christian males, and he is at the forefront, or at least he was at the forefront to ensure that he protects his white race base. That's not classic racism. I don't know. And he used Christianity, and he understood, as like the liberals do, that to drive the trans narrative, you have to target the children. Charlie understood that to be able to drive the attack on white nationalists, white demography, the attack on white people, you have to go to college campuses and capture young white kids who are lost and bring them back home. So he's doing it on one side, and the liberals are doing it on one side. They're attacking children. Liberals are just attacking them at a very young age. Charlie's getting them at the college age, right when they're about to make critical decisions. But his focus was not to protect America. They're trying to invade America with foreigners. No, that was not the focus. It was not, oh, they're bringing aliens, foreigners, Muslims, Africans, Arabs, what have you, Hispanic people, to water down America, the foundation of America. That was not the argument, because that's an argument that can be made. You've opened up the border and you have watered down the core of America, which is largely predominantly white and minority Black. And now you got Hispanics in there. But the core of America had always been white and Black. But Charlie was not focused on that. Charlie was focused on the white part of America, protecting his ethnicity, his race, his origin. That was his organic fight. The Harper Community College dropout. The Harper Community College dropout is able to identify a qualified pilot. Forget race, forget gender. Just a Harper Community dropout is able to know what the FAA regulations for a qualified pilot is. A man that took 2 classes in Harper and dropped out is able to look at skin color because he does not like DEI. Instead of understanding what DEI really is, he uses his blind racism to then say, if he sees a Black pilot, he's going to say, boy, I hope this Black pilot is qualified. Now, if he doesn't care about Hispanic pilots, he doesn't care about white women pilots, he doesn't care about Asian pilots, he doesn't care about what Native American pilots. But if he see, but now he cannot see, if he saw a Black pilot, he's going to wish that this guy taking me from Arizona to Utah, I hope he's qualified. And he went on and spoke on this same episode of how when he saw a straight chin white pilot, he felt safe and comfortable. You can go watch the video. He was comfortable when the pilot was a white man because by default, white pilots are qualified. And in this video, there is nowhere where the CEO, because in this video he was addressing the CEO of United, saying about they are allocating 50% of their pilot training programs to a diversity, equity, and inclusion, so a diverse hire. So United had decided that the country is now very diverse, right? We have predominantly hired white men. White women make 5% of the United workforce, pilot workforce. And United wanted to open their doors for more diverse pilots. But Charlie had a problem with that because it took work from white pilots. And white pilots you cannot add a diverse group because somebody is going to be affected. So he was against that. And he was against that because at the end of the day, his goal was to protect the white race. And there's nothing wrong in protecting anyone's race. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying don't protect, but if you're protecting your race at the expense of any other race, that is classic racism. There are no ifs and no buts about that. And all of this colorful stuff was far left progressive. I myself, I'm not a, you've known the village boy. We're not doing that here. So I'm playing this video just because he was able to offend diverse communities. But this is not a focus of interest for me in particular. Correct? We're just watching in this instance just because it was a man who just attacked every community. And that last part right there, I was a proponent for banning that care for children because children just don't have the development to say this is what radical liberals pushed on their children. So again, a broken clock can be right twice a day. That part, I probably find myself agreeing with him when it comes to children, protecting children. But overall, you've heard the rhetoric. Awfully graphic. But this is a man who prone, who pushed, who was anti-abortion. And abortion has decimated the Black community. One cannot argue that it has not destroyed the Black population. Like I stated earlier, Black population has stayed between 12 because the liberals did push for Black abortion. It's a systemic push that Charlie exclusively never wanted to talk about, right? Like how systemically abortion was forced into the Black neighborhood. So he was anti-abortion. They did everything to outlaw abortion. But he was also never against when we saw the shootings of kids in school, and it's one of America's pastimes. Just every year, 2 or 3 schools get shut up. That's a American legacy. And you will never hear conservatives say we cannot have our kids die in class the way they fought for aborted children that did not have a chance. They fought for it, but you don't see them fight for the kids in kindergarten, elementary that get killed. Recently in Minnesota, 2 or 3 kids were killed. You didn't see that passion. But that's what Republicans do. That's what MAGA do. They're not problem solvers. Okay. So when blacks in America did not have the freedom and right, so they were already constrained, they were subjugated, they had labels of color, they had to sit at the back of the bus, they were dehumanized. When blacks were in this point, they could not even breathe. The police was all over them. That's when Charlie says black people were acting rudely. Black people were in check. Black people did not commit crime because they were caged. They were free, but caged. This is the part that the second coming of Jesus said, but why was that? Why did black people behave better when they were under the laws of Jim Crow compared to now that they are free? This is the Jesus Christ transformation, college savior character of America. This is the guy that America, you cannot say anything. You cannot call in question his character. They're going to call your job, fire you, cancel you. People have to be able to, black people have to hear what he just said right now and go, yeah, our thoughts and prayers. We pray for him. We can't say nothing. He didn't really mean this thing. We just have to live in that reality. Because if you say something wrong right now, if I say the wrong thing, my Village Boy podcast is going in flames. My job, my life, my businesses, everything goes out. And this is the reality of America. What he just said, black people were better when they were in cages. Because Jim Crow, we all know American history. They were actually better under subjugation. Under Jim Crow, they were better. A white man saying he's a Christian, Jesus Christ, uses just Jesus Christ to get out of jail, says black people, he has never been a black man, has never lived with a black person, but understands the pain point of black people better than black people. Understands that in the 1940s and 50s, black people were better off than in 2025. This is the first segment of that Village Boy podcast. We had to do a tribute because, like I said, it's a tragic situation that this man had to go out like this. Tragic, tragic, tragic. Families. I'm a father, so I understand the pain. But this was not no hero. This was not no martyr. Yeah. Everything, you have to understand how America works. Everything, if you see white people, MAGA people rally behind an ideology, because you have to understand that black bashing in America is a very commercial viable topic. If I want to have followers right now, if I want to have MAGA people to follow me like crazy and support me and like my channel, and the algorithm is going to go swinging far right, I just need to say the craziest things about black people. And I'm telling you, in less than a month, I will be sitting with 1 million subscribers and 1 million views, and white people will be celebrating me and worshiping me and thanking me and saying, speak the truth. That is the truth. Speak that truth, boy. That is the truth. But if I don't do black bashing, I have 145 subscribers. I try. I don't do videos all the time. But if I start saying now, black people are lazy, black people are dependent, black people need to stop doing this, black culture is terrible, black fatigue is this. If I start criticizing black people and make white people go the narrative of the far right, the MAGA right, if I use that narrative of the Officer Tettons, of the Candace Owens, of the Hodge twins, if you want to succeed, you can either speak the truth, or you could go the path of MAGA, where you could come out here and attack Black people. There's no other demography in America sells. There's nothing, no other one. If you come out here and talk about Asians, nobody's gonna subscribe. Nobody cares. If you come out here and talk about Latinos, good or bad, you are not having 1 million subscribers. If you come out here and talk about how white people are bad or evil, that's a given. Everybody knows that you are not going to have 1 million subscribers. You want 1 million subscribers, come and degrade and talk and attack Black Americans. And in fact, Black people across the board. That would get you the fastest 1 million subscribers and put you a star value level as possible. Charlie understood this. All of them on the right understand this. It's a cash cow. This is what the people on the right want to hear. His rhetoric is exactly what the people on the right want to hear. And the Blacks who have self-hatred, who think that they've advanced and they've accomplished themselves, who look at other Blacks as beneath them, use that same narrative. And they build, there's not a single YouTuber, podcaster that has gone that route and has not seen a marginal amount of success. Doors will be open. There was this lady from Africa. I think it was during the George Floyd rallies. If any of you remember this lady, she was from the country of Cameroon. And she came out and she said in her African accent, I am not oppressed. I can't find the video. I'll play it again. I'm not oppressed. You guys are just lazy. You guys don't want to work. You complain all the time. And she became an instant sensation on the dot. She was famous. Fox News interviewed her. I think Greater Van Sussen, somebody, one of them Fox old ladies, interviewed her, brought her to Fox. I watched the interview. It was quite interesting. At the end of that interview, she said she was an Air Force Reserve. And the host said, thank you for serving in our military. I was a reminder that they didn't take you or factor you in their military. They just liked what you said about their Black people. And I've said this, if I want to transition today and be popular and be that village boy guy, host, podcaster that is popular, I will be all over the right. The right is going to worship me if I start saying the nonsense that those folks on the right say. It's available information. You just need to regurgitate and repeat and say the same things. They hear it on Officer Tatum. They hear it on Candace Owens. They turn around and go to the Hodge twins and hear the same thing. A little bit of nuance here and there, a little bit of change, but it's essentially the same thing. Black bashing is a massive $1 trillion market. You cannot bash white people and blow up. Everybody knows that. It's a given. But there's something about bashing Black people. There's something about saying that Black people are lazy, Black people are unaccomplished. So a platform like mine, where we're going to dissect the truth, we're going to grow if we do the work, but we're not going to explode. We're not going to be on NBC. I don't even want to go on NBC. It's a liberal channel, but we're not going to be mainstream. We're going to be in there somewhere, but we're not going to be mainstream. But I'm telling you, tomorrow, if you came back to the Village Boy podcast and I was out here attacking the liberals, attacking Black people, asking those questions without taking into account the systemic structure of America, which we're going to address in the second part of this video. Systemic part that Charlie Kirk, because Charlie never offered you a solution. He just talked about Jesus Christ. He just talked about capitalism in a country where the vast majority of resources are still owned by white people who have shipped out the jobs to China and India and every other way. Charlie is telling you that you should come and work. You should work hard. Don't buy into this. We want a merit-based system. This is your host, Tres, for The Village Boy. Let's transition to part 2.